Okay, so let's start our live streaming. And hello again, everyone. And we are very thankful that you're tuning in again on another live stream Wednesdays with Dr. George J. Saramuga. And my name is Kai, and with me is my colleague Ayn Chanko. And we are the team Love God. And we're doing this free live webinar here in our Facebook group because here at Dr. George A. Holistic Health and Healing, our vision is to build a healthy, vibrant, and resilient nation. And our mission is to empower ourselves to the optimal health of our mind, body, and spirit. And our values includes humility, love, and forgiveness. So, about our topic for tonight, which is food is medicine. This is actually the second leg of our topic. So if you're not able to watch or join with us last week, just feel free to browse through our posts here in our Facebook group and you'll be able to see the replay of our live streaming last week. So let's just go through what will happen tonight. So as always, we started with a prayer and then we'll have a short icebreaker, which I hope all of you will also participate by commenting down, your answers below this live video. And then we'll proceed with the topic Food is Medicine Part 2, wherein Dr. George will share with us what should we eat? After sharing with us last week, all those that we should not actually eat or we should be careful, in what we eat, like the HFCS, or even, another bonus topic, which is the celiac disease. After sharing all those, then what should we eat? So Dr. George will definitely share that with us. And then he'll also discuss about the standard American diet and another bonus, which is just a teaser of PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder within the creator model of healthcare. And then, before we proceed with the question and answer, Dr. George will again share with us some wellness tips. So we hope that you will stay with us until the end of this live streaming. So, without further ado, let me introduce Dr. George J. Saramuga. He's an osteopathic family physician, an ambassador for Christ, and an active veteran. So we'll start with the prayer. Let me call on Dr. George.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be here again, and thank you for joining us. And here a few days ago, I sent out by Facebook that I'm praying for you to a lot of different people. And I got so many people responding back, which was beautiful because we do need prayer, and prayer is the greatest medicine. And so let's offer prayer. And go ahead, Ayn. We'll go to the next slide, please. And our prayer today is out of Psalms. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Heavenly Father, good and gracious God, we gather to here to glorify your holy name. And Lord, we ask to imitate the life of your Son, Jesus, through humility, love, and forgiveness. Thank you for this opportunity to share, to show, and to be loved. This we ask in your name. Amen. All right, let's get going here, folks. All us grandpas out there, what's the meaning of life? And what great advice Grandpa says. We need to get to know the Lord Jesus Christ. And my team said that I kind of resembled that gentleman. And I said, I got a little bit more hair than he does, but it's all good, folks. So I want to give a special thanks to my wife, Pam, Pastor Tom, and Ladine in terms of their encouragement before presenting this session tonight. So thank you, folks. It really means a lot. Okay, Ayn, take that icebreaker.
Thank you, Dr. George. Hello, everyone. As you can see on your screens, today's icebreaker question is, have you had a prayer answered lately?
All right. Thank you for that icebreaker question, Ayn. And well, for me, definitely yes. It's just so you know, we are here. Ayn and I are here in the Philippines right now, and it's morning here. And really, just waking up today is another blessing, another answered prayer. Aside, of course, from all the provision, breakthrough, that I had the past weeks. So that will be my answer. How about you, Dr. George?
Well, Pam and I have been praying a lot lately for just becoming closer to one another and our God. And we just had a beautiful Red Sea moment here over the weekend, which was just beautiful. And so that gives you that confidence, that hope, and now that we know that God's always there beside us. So it was a beautiful weekend, and the weather was just gorgeous. So that's my answer there for the prayer.
For me, my answered prayer is a chance to be able to work from home and still grow as a person. And now we're here. Team Love
It's
God.
team of God.
That's
That's
wonderful.
right. Thank you, God. You bet.
Thank you. Thank you, Ayn.
Thank you too. We would like to hear from you guys. What prayer have been answered for you lately? Share your comments below.
Nice. All right. So moving on to that icebreaker, folks, and icebreakers are important. We like to do these at work, simple things, just like what's your favorite color or your favorite food. It really just you get to know people a little bit better. So very important to grow as a community. So we're going to advance the slide and get going on food is medicine. And so what should we eat? Well, we're going to show you. And we're going to show you the good rainbows of colors, and we want to eat the purest forms of food, and we want to feed our body wisely. And so let's show you that big, beautiful pyramid. I like Dr. Weil's anti-inflammatory diet. For me, as a simple guy, it's simple. It's a pyramid, and we're going to go through each one of these. And please don't look at all the words and things that are in it. You can read all that later. I'm just going to make some highlights as we go through this pyramid. And remember in our previous discussions, I don't believe in diets. Diets don't work. If they did, there would only be a few of them, but there's hundreds of diets out there. It's all about choices and quantities and living the 5 pillars of wellness. And so let's just go through this and we'll just share some examples. Okay, I'm certainly not a dietitian, but they should start teaching a lot more nutrition in medical school. So my healthy sweets, I'm a dark chocoholic. My wife will tell you that. And I like to have a couple pieces, a couple squares, which is about an ounce. A normal bar is about 3 ounces. And I'm going to show that after the presentation. And I usually have not just a couple times a week or sparingly. I like to have that with a scoop of peanut butter every day. And that's my treat, if you will. And dark chocolate has a lot of positive anti-inflammatories, the polyphenols, with a lot of antioxidant activity. And they're high in magnesium as well. And so they are a good source of nutrition for us. And so we can treat our bodies. And dark chocolate's one of those ways. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. And I'm not advocating alcohol. In fact, if you don't drink, I wouldn't start drinking. For most people, alcohol controls them. They don't control the alcohol. And so making no judgment on people, there are some benefits, antioxidant with red wine. And so a glass or so in the evenings or sometime during the day with a meal is something that people may enjoy. Okay, and then we'll keep going here on that pyramid. And supplements. Supplements are just that. They're a supplement to an already good anti-inflammatory diet, the rainbows of colors. And, we use a lot of these supplements right now in our COVID therapeutics. We use the vitamin D, 5,000 units. We use vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams twice a day. We use vitamin E, 200 to 400 international units a day. We use zinc and quercetin, and we're going to show you some of those at the end of the presentation. Okay, again, supplements are just to supplement a good diet. Let's talk about when you should take these vitamins and supplements. On an empty stomach, we want to take iron and our complex B vitamins, folic acid, which is a B vitamin, and probiotics 30 minutes before a meal. With food, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin C, fish oil, and magnesium. I like to take them either with a little bit of avocado, those good fats to help them be absorbed, or a scoop of peanut butter. And so that's a good time to take the vitamins and the minerals. Tea, I'm a big tea person, especially in the winter months. How much? I drink it all day long. And a lot of our teas are with ginger, and we put the raw honey, we put lemon in it. You can use white or green tea. I have sage or lavender. There's chamomile. So all kinds of different teas. And so they're very, very nutritious for us. And it's nice to have something warm in our stomach first thing in the morning as well. So tea has a lot of great benefit. So I encourage a lot of tea and the decaffeinated type. Healthy herbs and spices we cook with, and I put in a lot of our dishes, our roasts, and on our salads, ginger, garlic, the rosemary, thyme, and basil. And in my coffee in the morning with my raw honey, I always put cinnamon, a very powerful anti-inflammatory. And the one not mentioned on here is cayenne pepper. If you feel a little cold coming on, you can put a sprinkle little cayenne pepper in a tea with the raw and unfiltered apple cider vinegar, lemon, and turmeric, raw honey. And I tell you, that's a great toddy, and it'll kill any bacteria, viruses that might want to get us started in your upper respiratory system. Okay, very powerful, very powerful. Back to food as medicine. All diseases start in the gut. All right, well, after the herbs, let's talk about some sources of protein. You know, folks, I'm just going to show you. This is kind of like about the size of a deck of cards. Okay, that's what our meat should look like, the plate, not the salad this size and the meat the whole plate. You know, we should reverse those. The meat should be the size of a deck of cards or our phone, and the salad should be the size of the plate, those nice rainbows of colors. I'm a wild game guy. I like to hunt, and most of my meat is wild game, and really like buffalo and elk and a lot of our fish. Best to grill it or bake it rather than have it fried in a pan. And a lot of our game, if it's pheasant, chicken, or whatever it might be, best to eat it without the skin. And certainly the wild game is free range, and that's another reason why I like to eat wild game. And if it's not, you might want to look for choices that are grass-fed or free range. Dairy, we talked about that in the past. Dairy can really cause leaky gut and problems with our immune system, especially with lactose. And so I'm not a big fan of it. A little cheese every once in a while, you might want to limit it. You know, too much dairy, like you say, makes making little cows into big fat cows. So just be careful with the dairy. Cashew, coconut, or almond may be a better choice. Other sources of protein you might want to consider. And when we travel to third world or underdeveloped countries, eggs and chickens are huge sources of protein, and they're great sources of protein. Egg has lots of zinc and selenium, and that's good for our immune system, and males for their prostate, a lot of the B2, B6, B12 vitamins, and so lots of trace minerals and vitamins in our eggs. So I'm a big egg fan. Yogurt also is a good source of protein. You just have to watch the sugar content in some of the yogurt. Otherwise, I think that's a good source of protein for a lot of people. And so some different Swiss cheeses, true Parmesan cheese, Jarlsberg, and so other types of cheeses might be an alternative for you to get some protein in your diet if your stomach can tolerate it. Okay, so I'm a big proponent of eggs. I think eggs are good. I love a hard-boiled egg 3 to 4 times a week, and they're good on a salad or just with breakfast. Okay, so we're going to move on to that next slide. And what are we talking about here? Mushrooms and shiitake mushrooms, maitake mushrooms, the different crimini and portobello mushrooms, all very powerful anti-inflammatories. A lot of mushrooms are being used in patients that have cancer. And so they're helpful to prevent and to treat and to reverse some of the cancers and enhance our immune function. We're not supposed to eat them raw, and certainly they taste a lot better cooked, whether in with eggs in an omelet or in a casserole or with our salmon on the grill with a bunch of onions, and I like asparagus and mushrooms, and that really makes a good colorful meal packed with nutrients. So mushrooms are a good choice, good for us. Soy foods. I don't eat a lot of soy. I do like some soy nuts, and I do like edamame when we go out to Chinese restaurants or Asian restaurants. So, but it's a source of protein for you, and it's something to consider with a lot of antioxidant activity. And again, they do have some protection against cancer. So there's another source of protein for you in your diet. As we're moving on here, this is what I like, fish. And I like to fish. I love to eat and catch walleye, trout, and up in Alaska, it's just beautiful to eat that fresh Alaskan salmon. It just doesn't get any better than that. And that has a lot of our omegas and our vitamin D, and very, very healthy for us. That's why those grizzly bears get so big up there in Alaska, is from that salmon, those salmon runs. Just packed full of omegas, anti-inflammatories, the EPA and the DHA, in doses of 2 to 3 grams per day. You could get through a supplement, but look at that piece of salmon there with the surrounding greens there and the vegetables. That's a healthy meal. Okay, fish and seafood, just powerful. And then we can talk about the different oils, and whether that was talking about, there you go, thank you, Ein. So we have butter, olive oil, and you know what? McDonald's is now using canola oil instead of the other hydrogenated oils that were not healthy for us, the saturated oils. And so coconut oil is good for us. Olive oil is great to put on salads, and you can cook with that. You can cook also with the coconut oil. Avocado oil is good, as well as avocados are a great source of fat. I like to eat at least a half or a full avocado each day. It's a good snack. It has good staying power. It's just, you don't feel hungry when you get good fats in your system. Okay, now we're going on to that next slide. And how much should we have in terms of our healthy fats? Well, I like to have an ounce of an avocado, 1 or half of an avocado a day. How can you just eat 2 walnuts? All right, you got to have a handful of walnuts. So I like a handful of walnuts and other nuts. A tablespoon of flaxseed is good for you, good fat. We can use that extra virgin olive oil for cooking. That helps the omega-3 fats in our fish, in our eggs, our soy foods. Walnut and hazelnut oils in their salads. And so why healthy fats? We want those unsaturated fats, the omega-3 fats that we need for our bodies to synthesize cholesterol and to have those to make the steroids that our body needs to function. So we do need fats. And so the healthy fats are the ones that we should be consuming to live fully alive in our mind, our body, and our spirit. Okay. All right, let's transition here to pasta. Al dente, right? Where it has a little tooth in it, it's a little firm yet. Why? Because it has a lower glycemic index than that fully cooked pasta. As I shared in a previous live stream, I'm a big fan of spaghetti squash. Actually, it's my favorite vegetable because you can put a great red sauce there and you don't have those high glycemic sugar content in the spaghetti squash. And so 2 to 3 servings per week, about a half a cup of cooked pasta, spaghetti squash, or you can use buckwheat noodles or rice noodles. So you can stay away from the gluten. If gluten's an issue, you can stay away from that. Okay, so pasta al dente, my preference is spaghetti squash. All right, as we move on here, beans and legumes. 1 to 2 servings per day. One serving is about a half a cup of cooked beans or legumes. And there's all kind of beans. I like black beans. I put those in my chili. I like put chickpeas in my chili, and I like those in my salad as well. The black-eyed peas, lentils, lentil soup. That's a beautiful source of protein for us, these beans. And look at, they're rich in folic acid, magnesium, potassium, and that fiber we talked about. They're very low glycemic, so good for anybody that might be a diabetic, and it keeps our blood sugars at a steady level. And it kind of keeps things from going up and down too fast. Okay, hummus is a great source of, which are the garbanzo or the chickpeas. I love hummus. Okay, vegetables. Look at that rainbow of colors. And I know in the Philippines, when we visited, there's so much lush vegetation there that's a blessing. In Guatemala, the markets, the vegetables, the fruits are just line the streets. They look like that. It's just wonderful. And so that should be the mainstay of our diet, a plant-based diet. We don't have to be vegetarians. I'm not, but most of our diet should come from that rainbow of colors. 4 to 5 servings, a minimum per day. I like most of my vegetables in the different casseroles and the roast and the crock pots. I like a lot of them cooked, especially carrots and peppers. You know, some of them just taste better for me when they're cooked. And so, you know, whatever works for you, you know, raw tends to keep all the minerals and the vitamins in the vegetables, but it's better to eat vegetables whether they're cooked or raw, because you're certainly having the juice for them when they're being cooked and processed as well. But all those that are listed there, I like. Broccoli, actually, and cauliflower kind of upset my stomach a little bit, so I have to be careful with that. But as you saw, we make our own sauerkraut out of the cabbage. I love the Brussels sprouts. Kale is one of my favorites, and that's a superfood. I love beets, another superfood. Just eat from that basket, whatever resonates with you, whatever your diet likes, whatever tastes well for you. You know, and even potatoes and corn, they talk about a high glycemic index. That's okay. You know, it's better to eat those and then processed foods. Okay, good. Now the fruits. So vegetables, 4 to 5 servings a day, fruits, 3 to 4 servings a day. And there's so many beautiful fruits out there. Some of my favorites, as I shared with my team up in Montana, is I'm a blueberry person. Some people like raspberries. Most of them like watermelon. And so just as long as you're getting some of that rainbows of colors in, and yes, pineapple is a higher glycemic fruit. Watermelon is a higher glycemic fruit. Again, it's just, as Ein said in previous live streams, it's moderation. So it's best to eat the fruits because they have the flavonoids, the carotenoids, the anti-inflammatory, the antioxidant activities that are healthy for our bodies. Remember, everything goes to the gut. All those nutrients get absorbed and get disseminated through our body to keep our bodies healthy. So fruits and vegetables should be the mainstay of our diet. Okay. And as we talked about, bananas, pineapples could be high glycemic. I like apples and the blueberries. I like to put them on my oatmeal or my cereal with some flax and chia seeds. And the raspberries, blackberries, all just make you feel healthy when you eat those. And fruit juices that are from concentrate have a lot of added sugar, and that's why you want to limit it. It's best if you could have freshly squeezed, which is kind of hard to do. I understand that, but that would be the ideal. And here we go, folks. Here's my mini Wachoni, agua es vida, water is life. I talk about this every day with our patients. And our body is 70% water. So we need to drink half our weight in ounces each day to feel healthy. And good water, pure water, filtered water, spring water. And a lot of times I'll add the raw and unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother to my water. Some honey, ginger sliver, turmeric, and you can add a tea bag to that as well. if you want to, just to flavor up the water a little bit throughout the day. Some people tell me, Doc, I don't like to drink water. And, you know, it really is necessary for the optimal functioning of our immune system, our brain, bone, and water is life. Okay, so just encourage you to get it somehow, and it can't be through alcohol or through caffeine. Those all dehydrate you, and you'll have to drink a lot more water to compensate for that. All right, water is life. Here we go, folks. We talked a little bit about beans, and we're going to show you some nuts at the end of the presentation. And I tell you, nuts are one of my go-to snacks because they're easy and they got the staying power too. They're good for you, good protein, good fat, and they stay in your stomach. And I like the almonds, the walnuts, the pecans. My nurse Carrie up in Brada, she loves the pistachios, and so we're all uniquely made. We're all made in the Lord's image, and so pick some seeds that you really like and use them as an augment to your diet, or put them in your diet, and they're a great snack for us to eat, including nut butter. It's a good snack, good to put on our toast or on our bread as well. Okay, beans and nuts are very, very powerful. Good source of energy and protein. Okay, now we talk about Burger King and Hardee's and KFC, McDonald's, although McDonald's has gone to canola oil, and I don't know about those other fast food chains, but that's where the trans fat becomes an issue. That's hydrogenated H that is attached to that fat, causing it to gel, and that gels in our body, and it doesn't do our body any good. It harms our body. It makes our cells resistant to insulin, and that's where we're getting bigger. And there's no safe amount of trans fat in our diet. And that's why obesity, especially in children, is on the rise. Diabetes is at record levels, and we're seeing so much cancer and chronic disease and autoimmune diseases because of our diets. So we can do better than that, folks. Let's just keep going here, and let's show you what we mean by that. It's all good. It's all good. All right. The sad American diet instead of the standard American diet really is sad. And so we need to feed our body wisely, and we'll feel better. And we can reverse a lot of this autoimmune problems by fixing our gut, eating the right foods, reclaiming our health. We are born healthy, and we can reclaim our health with 5 pillars of wellness, food is medicine. And look at this gentleman, Morgan Spurlock, 33 years old, for 1 month, 3 meals a day at McDonald's. Gained 25 pounds, weight went up 50 pounds, developed headaches, depression, libido dropped. His liver test became very, very abnormal. Got a huge gut, knee pain, began craving fat and sugar because the brain started craving all that junk food. Okay. And so it only took 30 days for that. Just like exercise. If we don't exercise, we get out of shape, and it just takes so much more to get back into shape. And so the same thing with foods. If we get in a poor habit or poor lifestyle, it doesn't take long to not feel well and cause disease. Getting back to our water. And this is a wonderful point for us to remember. Even mild dehydration. You might not think you're thirsty, but when you're thirsty, you're really dry. And so we got to keep drinking water. I tell people our water coming in should look like our water coming out. And it can slow down our metabolism. So if you want to lose weight, you got to drink water. And by drinking a lot of water, you'll be full more and you'll eat less, and the metabolism will be running higher. And that's how you lose weight. That's part of lifestyle medicine. Remember, 70% of our cells make up is water. And most people are chronically dehydrated. And every time we talk about this in the clinic, everybody says, I don't drink enough. And so people know it. And so working in a ranching community, I just love it when I can use the occupation of the ranchers to kind of make a teaching point. And says, what makes your cattle and your sheep healthy? Well, it's good water and lots of it. And it's good food, that plant-based diet. The hay, the alfalfa, And that's what makes them healthy. I says, well, we should do the same thing. We should eat a plant-based diet and drink a lot of water. And so it's a kind of a nice give and take back and forth. But I think, we all understand that we just need to be more disciplined to do that. And a glass of water will take our hunger pains away for most people. Okay. And thyroid problems is not the number one cause of fatigue. It's lack of water. And so when we have that fatigue, let's get up, go get a big glass of water, take some inhale low, exhale gratitude. You can do some good grounding exercises, swing arms, a little brain yoga, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Instead of reaching for the caffeine, the energy drinks, the soda, that causes the problem to be worse. Okay? So again, emphasizing the beauty of water. Water is life. All right, so what do we have next? After water is life, or looks like our slide, there we go. And so a suggestion, start your morning with a large glass of room temperature water, squeeze a lemon in there, a lemon wedge, raw and unfiltered apple cider vinegar with a mother, raw honey, and a little cinnamon. That'll wake up your body, help detoxify the liver, and get everything moving, okay? Even the bowels. Get a good detox going first thing in the morning, and then have a cup of coffee or two, okay? And so it keeps our liver and our gut healthy. So that's a suggestion. And so 7 rules to live fully alive. Cut out the sugar, especially soda. And we're going to talk about that here in a bit. Drinking water, half our weight in ounces. Water is life. And we don't want to eat after 8 p.m. or 3 hours before bedtime. Some of my patients, farmers and ranchers, they're in bed by 8 or 9 o'clock. So, by after 5 or 6 o'clock, no more eating. Okay? We want to move daily, at least 10 minutes a day. Okay? And so the snacks, try to keep them about the size of your fist. And good meditation. Staying in the present moment, inhaling love, exhaling gratitude, focusing on Jesus, our creator, focusing on Jesus, yes. And keep a food journal. Those are also helpful too. Okay, now we're going to introduce post-traumatic stress disorder. A prudent boss will listen to his team. And last night, folks, while we were talking and preparing post-traumatic stress, we felt that it was going to be too long of a presentation to include this with the food as medicine. And so my team suggested, and I agree, that we would be able to discuss this topic in a much better way that wouldn't take a lot longer for us here, because attention span, 30 minutes or so, right? I understand, that's mine anyway. And so we're going to come to you with and Kai came up with this yesterday, the team, when we discussed it. We're going to come up with you to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which is a mental health problem some people develop after experiencing or witnessing life-threatening events, like our soldiers and sailors, Marines and airmen in combat, a natural disaster, a car accident, sexual assault, or something horrific that happens to people. And it is fairly common. 44 million out of, or about 20% of the U.S. population at any one time. So we want to be a soft landing spot for people. And so we're going to devote the whole live stream next week to post-traumatic stress. And the 3 Ps that we're going to talk about that are going to change the perspective, that's 1, add pure love, 2, and 3 is prayer. The 3 Ps to address PTSD. And we'll introduce and unveil that one that is responsible to help healing this whole process. So it'll be an exciting live stream next week, folks. So that's something to look forward to. And we look forward to presenting that for you next week. Okay, so that's our presentation for this evening. Who's got some questions?
Here's a question, Dr. George.
Okay.
How much sugar does a can of Coke or Dr. Pepper have?
That's a great question. And when I tell people this, they almost look shocked. But I usually have a can or a bottle that I can show them that it really does have this much sugar. 12 ounce to 16 ounce pop, Dr. Pepper, Coke, Mountain Dew will have anywhere from 40 grams to 60 grams. That's 8 to 12 teaspoons, which is, then I say, would you go to the sugar jar, 8 teaspoons or 12 teaspoons? And for some people, that's enough to say, I'm not going to drink that anymore. And Diet Pop's no better, so that's not a good alternative. And that's how addicting the pop is. And all that sugar, remember last week's live stream, it goes to our liver and to our gut. And we can't metabolize all that sugar load. And so that's where the weight gain, the insulin resistance, the diabetes, the obesity. Okay? So great question. Thank you for that question.
Can you give a few examples of healthy snacks?
I can. And I know I always have our nuts, a potpourri of nuts, and deluxe mixed nuts, cashews, almonds, pecans, pistachios, hazelnuts, and again, a handful of these nuts. And anybody that spends any time at our house, and Pam and I, we like to have 2 Brazil nuts each morning. Brazil nuts are high in selenium. They give you 100% of your selenium requirement, which is important for our thyroid. Many people have thyroid issues because of selenium deficiency, zinc deficiency. And so these Brazil nuts are wonderful. Okay, and so I'm going to add a little bit of folks here from the nuts. Remember we talked about the dark chocolate? This is 95% coca, 95% dark chocolate. I'll eat about a third of that, or 2 to 3 squares. And listen to this. It will have 200 calories, no trans fats, so no bad fats, dietary fiber, 18% or 5 grams, 1 gram of sugar, so 1/5 of the teaspoon of sugar, and 4 grams of protein. Add a big scoop of peanut butter, and you have another 7 grams of protein, a good healthy snack. And dark chocolate, that isn't so healthy, but you got to live, right? I lived really well this weekend. I almost by myself ate a whole blueberry pie, so, that wasn't the best choice. But again, you got to live. But this supersedes dark chocolate with pumpkin, flax, and chia, and it's free of artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives. But a third of this will have 150 calories, but it does have 11 grams or 2 teaspoons of added sugar. So not as healthy, but still a better choice. And I don't try to have that every day. The other dark chocolate that has the 1 gram of sugar, I eat that a lot more. Okay. So getting back to some of the supplements and the minerals that I talked about, magnesium, very powerful. Magnesium glycinate is the best form to be absorbed. And that's good for our brain health, our bone health, our immune system, our heart health. And if the minerals are in the soil, they'll get into the plants, they'll get into the animals that eat the plants, they'll get into the humans that eat the plants and the animals. But a lot of our soils, folks, the mineral content has been depleted. And so a good supplement, if you're really doing a lot of exercise, hunting, outside working, magnesium may not be a bad idea. And we talked about the omegas, the omega-3s. If you can't get the sardines, the trout, the salmon, then maybe some omega-3s, 1 or 2 a day, sporadically to supplement your diet. And a couple more. Okay, quercetin. Quercetin is one of our vitamins or supplements that we like to use for the therapeutics with COVID. Okay, we use the hydroxychloroquine, the ivermectin, quercetin, and this really comes from the rainbow of colors in our vegetables, especially red onions and kale. Kale's a superfood, and this one has some vitamin C in it. And so I have folks take 2 of these twice a day. They're 250 milligrams. So that's part of our COVID protocol. Therapeutics. And then vitamin D3, we've talked about that. 5,000 units each day from September to May in the Great Plains. Higher doses, if you do have COVID, is recommended. And that, you can talk with your provider about. But very, very important, vitamin D3 for brain health, bone health, immune system. And the last one is lutein. And I take this one for my eyes, and it helps prevent the macular degeneration. And so your vision, as you get a little older, the night vision might be a little bit compromised. But this also has some vitamin C, E, zinc, and copper in it. And so I don't take these every day, but again, as a supplement. If I'm traveling or if there's a hole or a void in my diet, I think it's important that we have some supplements to help bridge those gaps. Okay, so those are our health tips for today. Now, I think we're going to turn it over to my kind and talented Chief Operations Officer, Kai, and she's going to tell us about next week.
Yes, but before, actually, Dr. George, thank you for that. Thank you for everything that you have shared with us. But before we proceed, actually, we do have a question online, and it's from Taylor. She asked about, she said, I understand it is best to eat veggies in their raw, natural state. But what are your thoughts on a greens powdered supplement?
Great question, Taylor. And thank you for joining us and for that question. Yes, vegetables are better for us, the nutrients to absorb all the vitamins, minerals in our greens and our vegetables in the raw form. And cooked, though, it's better to eat them cooked than not to eat them at all. But to your question, I try to do it more natural, and I'm a kind of a locavore, if you will, try to eat the local foods and not powders and supplements. And so I don't know enough about them, Taylor, but I'm open to that. And I know there's a lot of them out there. And so I would have to do a little bit more research for the specific brand that you're talking about. That's a wonderful question. And so we can engage more online. And if it's the Taylor that I think it is, we can talk at work and, we can educate each other. So thank you so much, Taylor. I appreciate that question.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that, Taylor. And well, we had another, wonderful discussion about food, about what we should be eating. And we hope that all of you actually learned, a lot tonight. And as we proceed, okay, let me just invite you, because next week, next Wednesday night, we'll have another topic. And as what Dr. George said earlier, we just had a very, very brief introduction about what PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder is. So, but next week, don't worry, we'll have an entire session for that. And we hope that you'll join us again. And you can also invite your friends, your family, to join us in our Facebook group so that they can also learn, about what PTSD and what we can actually do about this. This is very encouraging, actually, because this will be within the creator model of healthcare. Okay, thank you. So, well, if you need, or we just want to invite you as well, because we are in different social platforms. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, and also in Pinterest. So I hope that you'll also join us in those platforms. You'll follow us and also visit our website, DrGeorgeJ.com, and you will see a lot of resources available, even free downloadables, free handouts, and other like we also have free posters there actually. So we hope that you'll visit. Again, it's DrGeorgeJ.com. DrGeorgeJ.com to learn more about creator model of healthcare and how to live fully alive in mind, body, and spirit. And again, my name is Kai, and with my team, Dr. George and Ayn, we just want to say thank you for being with us again tonight, and we hope to see you again next week.
Let's see that last slide there, Ryan. That's the one. There we go. Thank you, and may God bless everybody. And remember, 3 hugs a day, everybody, for the good health of our mind, our body, and our spirits.
Indeed. Thank you,
Indeed.
everyone.
Indeed.
All right, everybody. See you next week. We love you. Indeed.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Let's just wait until just check on Facebook if it's finished already.
Getting back to our water. And